Take my hand, together we'll fall now, we'll fall now. I don't know what to say, but I'll try my best. It's terribly cliche, 'cause when you...
Hey guys, so I kind of wanted to talk to you all about how to survive the first week at home with the newborn. I believe that I'm definitely ready to talk about this, considering now my daughter is a little bit older and I feel a little bit more seasoned and experienced as a parent. Now I want to talk about the first week at home with your newborn, not in the hospital. In the hospital, life is easy. It's wonderful. Everything's new. Everybody's coming in to see you like, oh, the new baby, I want to hold her. Oh, let me feed her. Oh, let me change her diaper. When you get home, it's not going to be like that. Most of the people will have already came and seen you and seen the baby, and the excitement has wore off, and by then you're back home, you're tired, you don't have nurses to help you, and you're no longer kind of weighted on hand and foot. Life is very different outside the hospital. Plus, regardless of whether you deliver vaginally or you have a C-section, you will most likely be in a lot of pain when you get home. So, let's begin with some tips about your newborn. Tip number 1, whatever your baby is sleeping in, whether it be a cradle or a bassinet or one of those Fisher-Price rock-in-place sleepers, keep it within arm's length, arm's length of your bed. Why do you want to do this? Because it makes it so much easier in the night when you are tired and you're in pain to be able to more easily access your newborn baby versus having to get up, walk into the other room, or even walk across the room. When we first came home, her bassinet was not exactly right beside our bed. It was a few feet away, and eventually we moved it pretty much right beside our bed, just because that made it so much easier. Okay, tip number dose for when you bring your newborn home. Have everything set up prior. Do not come home and have to set things up. So basically, while you're still pregnant, way before you're due, make sure that everything is in order. Make sure you've already set up an organization system as to where you want to store your diapers, store your wipes, your Desitin, your blankies, the onesies, the sleepers, where you're going to put this and that, and have your system and flow with it. Do not change it. Pick the perfect system, whatever you think will work best, and keep it that way. That way, when it's 3 in the morning, you won't be fumbling in a drawer saying, baby, where's the burp cloths? And then you have to listen for the response of, we moved them. Remember? They're underneath the bassinet now. It helps a lot if you already have a system in place and know where everything is organized at. I promise you guys. Okay, next, let's talk about your sleep schedule. When you come home, your newborn is going to basically do nothing but sleep, eat, poop. That's going to be it. It is going to be weeks before your newborn will be more alert and awake, and you'll be able to interact more. So here is my best advice. You have just given birth, you're super exhausted, you're trying to adjust to life as a new parent. It's so hard. You just want to cry and pull your hair out. I did not listen to this when people told me this, but it's the best advice ever, you guys. When your baby is napping, lay down and take a nap. Even if you just get to nap for 2 hours, it'll make you feel so much better. It'll help. You'll just feel your head will be clearer. You want to pull your hair out when the baby wakes up. You'll feel a lot better if you will just take the advice that everyone else will give you and nap when your baby naps. And I know it's so hard to do it. One of the reasons I didn't want to nap when embryo was asleep was because that was the only time I had to myself. It was nice to get to take a shower or maybe feed myself or go to the bathroom or just sit there and stare at the wall and vegetate. Another reason I had that I didn't like taking naps when she slept is because I'm still that way. I'm still that way. Super, super, super paranoid of SIDS. So afraid that would happen. So afraid that something would happen to her and she would die in her sleep or stop breathing or something like that. And I felt like I had to constantly be a vulture and lurk over the bassinet, watching her and checking her every little bit to make sure she was still alive and still breathing. more than likely that's not going to happen. And if you really feel that uncomfortable about it, have someone, ask them to babysit for like an hour or two, whatever, to let you nap. I wound up having to do that a few times, or just taking shifts with Sam and saying, okay, I'm napping, you stay awake, take care of her, then when she wakes back up, or I wake back up, whatever, we'll switch. Okay, next thing that I want to talk about, make sure that you put your pediatrician's number on speed dial in your cell phone. Why? Because if you're a new parent and you're like me and full of questions and wondering, is that normal? Is she supposed to be doing that? Is that supposed to be that color? Is it supposed to smell that way? You will be calling your pediatrician a whole lot. And plus, if there's ever a case of an emergency, you will want that number right there in your phone, easily accessible. I promise you, it's so much better than fumbling in your purse or your wallet or whatever that you keep the doctor's business card in and looking for it and saying, oh my gosh, where's the card? I gotta call them right now because I don't know if Tommy's poop is supposed to be this color. It'll happen. I guarantee you, it'll happen. And you'll freak out. Next point. Let's talk about baby laundry. When you come home, you will start accumulating laundry like crazy. You will be doing laundry every few days, or it's going to get so out of control that you won't be able to stand it. I promise. You'll go through so many blankets and sleepers and everything like that, because you will have spit up incidents, you'll have diaper leaks, and the first, especially with my daughter, the first few weeks of diaper changes, it was all poop. Most of it was nasty, watery, diary poop. It was so gross, and all the nurses and stuff, oh yeah, it's supposed to be all loose and yucky, and well, that's great for you all, but that's bad for sleepers and blankets that you have to stand there at the kitchen sink scrubbing and such. Okay, so now let's talk about some advice for you if you are breastfeeding in the first week at home with your newborn. Obviously, I breastfed my daughter for the first week after we left the hospital. And it was so exhausting, and it was so hard. I didn't have the nurses to help me, to give me tips, to help me position her. Sam was still in school at that point. He wasn't out for the summer, and I was home alone a lot with her during the day. And so I would have to drag my sore, hurt self out of the bed, get her out of her bassinet, set up the boppy, get the burp cloth, and do all this weird stuff, and my nipples were pouring, and I'd have to take a burp cloth and put it over the other bare one so I didn't gush out all over me and the baby, and I'd be so sore, and the boppy didn't really help that much because the C-section, and be trying to position her, and she'd be fussing and screeching, and I had issues with my nipples. I had to use nipple shields when I did breastfeed, so there I would be trying to get that thing on there and latch her in, and it was so difficult. So, some advice. Have all your breastfeeding supplies ready before. If you know that she is due for feeding and about to wake up, or if you're about to wake her up, have your spouse make sure that, or your boyfriend, whoever, whatever, your mom, friend, aunt, I don't really care, have them help you get everything together and get set up before you get the baby up. And if she's already awake, have somebody try to maybe calm her, rock her, him, her, sing her, him, her, I keep saying her because I have a daughter, sorry, until you are set up and ready to nurse. Okay, with that being said, next thing of how to survive the first week with your newborn. You are definitely going to want to have a swing or a bouncy or a rocker or something that you can either sit in with your baby and hold your baby, or you can set the baby in it by themselves, turn it on, and go. Your arms will get so tired if you try to rock them manually, and I have really found that with my daughter, the best thing sometimes I can do for her when she's just really fussy is to put her in her bouncy, put it on, and just kind of gently bounce her, or put her in her swing, turn it up, and let the crickets sing for her, and the bunnies rotate, whatever. And that's really sometimes the only thing that you can do when they're upset. Okay, so let's move on. I will say this, as a tip for any moms who are bottle feeding. Obviously, I didn't bottle feed for the first week, but I will tell you that afterwards, something that is really, really, really crucial is to not let the bottles get out of hand. Keep them washed and keep everything sterilized, put up and ready to go. And go ahead and make your bottles and put them in the fridge. Just make sure you keep up with the time. Like, we have a sheet of paper where we write down the bottle and what time it went into the fridge. That way we'll know, if it's going to expire, which we obviously always get to use way before 24 hours passes. It's normally like 3 or 4 hours later we use it. So, moving on to some other tips about newborns. I want you all to take a good look at this thing. You see this? I know that you know what this is. It's a nasal aspirator, a blood syringe, a boogie sucker. I don't care what you want to call this. You're going to want to plant these all over your house like Easter eggs. These are, they're saviors. They're like little angels. It's so great. Like, I don't know if it's all infants that have this, but my daughter definitely, when she was first born, and even now, boogers all the time, and you have to suck left and right and get them out. Also that, for those of you who know, my daughter had a choking episode when she was 17 days old, and she had to be rushed to the hospital, and it was a nightmare. And I thank God for this thing, because it probably saved my daughter's life. And it was used, well, not this certain one, we had a different one, but we used one of these to suction the spit up out of her nose and mouth so she could breathe, because she was choking. So definitely these things can be lifesavers. They're great to have around, not just for spit up, but obviously for snotty noses, that kind of thing. You're going to want to plant these everywhere, because you never know when something can happen. Not trying to scare any new parents out there. I'm just saying it can happen. Be prepared. And these things are great. But what I've really found about these is the hospital grade ones that you get when your child is born are way better. So make sure whatever ones they give you at your hospital, you stuff them in the bag. Do not leave these in your hospital room. Take these. They will be your best friend, I promise. So, another tip for how to survive the first week with your newborn. What you really want to think about is accessibility. And what do I mean when I say that? I mean making your life easier than pie. Don't make things complicated. Yes, your baby is so cute, and you want to dress them in all these cute little outfits with all these snaps and stuff, and don't do it. You're going to change diapers left and right. You're going to be doing it in your sleep. You're going to be so tired and food and starving, and you're not going to shower in days, and it's going to be so bad. And you're going to say to yourself, God, I wish I would have put them in something easy to take them out of. So really, what I really want to show you guys is going to be a great friend to you. Is stuff like this. Baby gown. See this? There's no buttons, there's no zippers. And also, let me show you all this. These have these little cuffs, see? They flip up. Look at that, you guys! Scratch mitts! Ooh, yeah. Because, newborn nails are like razors. They are friggin' daggers. They're sharp and they're long, because, your baby's growing in there for months, 9 months, and it's not like there's, a beauty salon in there where they can get, mani-pedi services right on the dot. So you definitely want to dress them in things that are easy to change. So gowns, sleepers with zippers, or sleep sacks that have zippers, stuff like that, things that are easy. Depending on what season they're born in, t-shirts, if you want to just throw a t-shirt over them and leave them in their diaper, as long as you control the temperature in your house, or throw a blanket over them, whatever, that's great too. Make it easy to change their diapers. I promise you, your life will flow so much better if you do that. Okay, so moving on, another thing that I want to talk about actually relates to that gown that I just showed you with the scratch mitts. So, let me tell you about scratch mitts. I did get a pack of those at my baby shower, and I was like, oh, these are so cute, these are gonna be great, yeah, blah, blah, blah. They did not stay on my baby whatsoever. She would, work them off like Houdini. They were pretty much useless. So, there was that. And socks on her hands did not help either. Her hands were so tiny. My daughter was just over 5 pounds, so she was definitely a small baby. and all the little features of her little hands and nose, feet, all of it was super tiny. So that stuff didn't work. Honestly, when my daughter was born, she didn't fit newborn clothes. They were huge. She needed preemie clothes. And same with diapers. Even though she wasn't a preemie, she was just very tiny. So, with that being said, you will definitely want onesies, long sleeve onesies, depending on the season. Obviously, if it's July and your child is born, then you don't really want to do that. And I guess you'll have to try socks or mitts. But stuff with the little cuffs made to them where you can flip the mitts, and they're called scratch mitts, and they're attached, so they fit perfectly. Even if the arms are pretty long, they'll still work way better than socks or mitts. Now that's not really a problem with our daughter because she's much older and we're a little bit more seasoned, and I'm not scared to death to cut her nails. And I don't even, most of the time I don't even file them unless she has a hangnail. I kind of do it then. Now we just clip them all the time because we're like, yeah, that's not scary. But at first it will be, you'll more than likely, if you're anything like me, you'll be scared to clip your baby's nails. Be like, oh god, what if I cut them too short? I've never clipped anyone's but my own, don't want to do that. So you will probably either file them or be using mitts all the time. And that was what I did. I filed Abriels and I used mitts all the time. Okay, so next thing that I want to give you for a tip as to how to survive the first week of the newborn. You're going to really want to get diapers with umbilical cord cutouts because that cord is going to look gross. It is going to be, to you, it's going to look like it hurts. I don't think it really hurts them, and you're going to be so scared about it bumping their clothes or it getting pulled off before it's ready. You're going to be terrified about touching it and all that other stuff. You're going to be scared of it. We were. So one thing that we definitely did use with Abrielle was newborn diapers with umbilical cord cutouts. It's all it is the diapers have a little dip in the front and it's a little notch where the waistband isn't as high, so it won't rub the cord area. Those were great. I love those. We actually went and bought more newborn diapers until her cord fell out, just so we could use those certain diapers until her cord fell off. And her cord fell off, I think, when she was ooh, gosh, I can't remember right now. I've got it wrote down, I promise you guys. God. See, and that's my next tip for you. Next tip for you is keep a notebook and write things down. Don't just write down the last time that little Junior pooped and ate. Write down things about them. First things they do, like when they lose their cord stump, the first time that they take a bath, stuff like that. I have a notebook, and it's like over there on the shelf. Anyway, but I have a notebook where I wrote down a lot of Abrielle's first. Her first bath, her cord falling off, the first time that we thought she really did smile, just stuff like that. Because as a new parent, it's so easy to forget and to lose track of time, and you're not an elephant anymore. It's really, your brain cells are so far stretched out trying to remember everything and do everything. So that is it. Those are my tips to help you survive the first week with your newborn. I really hope they help you. Hope you find them useful. Let me know how you all survive the first week with your newborns. Bye guys.